Moving on to our second ticker, and that is JPMorgan. The stock slightly in the green here, moving up just around 0.9 of a percentage point. And this comes after the release of CEO Jamie Dimon's annual letter to shareholders. The company recorded a record profit in 2018, posting net income of $32.5 billion. Dimon also defending capitalism in that letter, writing, quote, "Socialism inevitably produces stagnation, corruption, and often worse. This would be as much a disaster for our country as it has been in other places. It's been tried." Yahoo Finance's Julia LaRoche is with me. And Julia, I know that you started reading this letter very early this morning. I first want to start off with what Jamie Dimon started off with, and that was just the record performance of the company last year in terms of profit. What's important here is it's not just because of tax reform, right?
Well, he did point out that tax reform did boost net income by $3.7 billion, and he has for a long time called for comprehensive corporate tax reform and lowering of the rate to make it more competitive with the rest of the world. So as you can imagine, he's probably pleased with the corporate tax reform that we've seen. But overall, he's been just really upbeat across JPMorgan's businesses. Some highlights that I'd like to point out, one being this whole bank branch thing that you're seeing. He has been expanding into new markets, opening up new branches. He said by 2022, they expect that a Chase branch will be within 93% of the U.S. population. So when you heard that whole trend a few years ago of, oh, the bank branch is dying, that is certainly not the case when you look across JPMorgan's business. And look, they've also been adding a lot more new technologies to make it easier to sign up for accounts. I saw one stat in the letter going back to February. They added 1.5 million new customers with deposit accounts using new technologies to make it more efficient to sign up within 3 to 5 minutes. So they really are trying to meet the consumer where they are. He's also talking about small businesses. That is something that he's really pounded the table on, is making sure small businesses have the opportunity to get access to capital so they can grow, invest in their employees. They are the engine of growth in this country. And there are so many other lines of business, whether it's the investment banking. He's talking about even where wallet share has been declining. As you know, we've seen different areas in the capital markets that have pulled back in recent years. They still are one of the number one, actually the number one investment bank across a lot of these different categories. So there's a lot to be upbeat for Jamie Dimon.
Yeah, Julia, another thing that stuck out to me, there's a lot of politically charged themes in this letter. You mentioned capitalism. He also discussed regulation. I know he said in the past that he's not interested in running for president, but when you take a look at this letter, it sure sounds like or reads like someone that could possibly be thinking about the Oval Office in the future.
Well, of all of the CEO letters, aside from Warren Buffett, I would say that Jamie Dimon is the one that everyone reads. And even Warren Buffett, he is known to read this letter. So look, Jamie Dimon is one of the longest serving investment bank CEOs now. It's the largest U.S. bank. He has this massive platform and people listen to him. When he gives a speech, people want to hear what he has to say. So of course, he's going to weigh in on a lot of different challenges. He's talking about capitalism. Capitalism's been under threat. He has said that, it is the best system out there when it comes to economic systems. It's lifted more people out of poverty. It has come under attack. And yes, it is flawed. So he's pointing to, yes, there are challenges, there are problems. Here's how we can solve these different problems. It does read like a presidential letter. I do not think that Jamie Dimon would run for office, even though I think it would be great. Personally, I think that would be a really interesting campaign to follow and watch and cover. But look, he doesn't need to run for office. He has a huge platform already, and already people listen to him.
Yeah, well, certainly we'll wait and see. But again, I guess it looks like investors are reacting okay to the shareholder letter.
And they report earnings next week.
Yep, exactly. The stock's up just around 1% so far today.